1. So I have worked with my company since I was 16 or 17. I don't remember when I started, but I'm 22 now and it's been a while. We're a fast casual barbecue place, which is only available in my state. We also have a drive-thru, which is what I usually work. We were training other people as managers for a new store opening, and I'm also in training to be a manager. But my training is less important because I'm remaining at our store. Anyways, it was a really busy night. I'm talking we did probably $15,000 or more. We sold out of our ribs despite loading way more than we needed to cook. But they're amazing, so it makes sense people buy them. I was having a tough time on the drive-thru, so one of the other managers in training, who is a saint, and who I have a girl crush on, offered to take my headset while I cashed out and helped out on the floor. I come back after a short period of time because I notice they're swamped, and I'm really good at checking and bagging food quickly and sending people on their way. Manager in training and I make a wonderful team, until this woman is at the window. Mitt will be manager in training. Me, of course, will be myself, and OL will be Onion Lady. I had just finished packing food for OL when Mitt puts someone on hold and hands out the food. Apparently OL had been horrible at the speaker. We sold out of ribs, so she settled for pork, which is almost the same because our ribs are pork as well. OL accepts her food by yanking it out of Mitt's hands, and she and I share a look with each other, complete with eye rolls. Then Mitt goes back to her order taking while I bag. I notice OL has not left as our time is at 9 minutes for window time alone. OL is dead-ass going through her entire order at the window. I ignore this, although I'm upset because our drive-thru times are meant to be under 5 minutes, and my average is now at 8, and steadily going up because of this woman. OL honks 4 or 5 times to get my attention, so I go to the window. "Yes, ma'am, are you missing something?" Holding a 3-ounce cup of onions.
"First, you fuckers charged me for a quart of onion sticks, when I wanted 4 half pints of raw onions, which I know you don't charge for, and you give me this? This is bullshit."
4 half pints is a lot of onions, ma'am. That's a quart of raw onions. We don't charge for small amounts of extras, but if you want 4 half pints, I'll happily charge you.
"No! You guys always give them to me for free. I want them now!"
"No, we don't, but if you pull forward so Mitt can assist the others behind you, I'll gladly grab you a pint of onions at no charge so you can go home happy."
"I have been waiting in line for 20 minutes, and now you want me to wait even longer so you can go get me what I originally asked for?"
"Yes. The people behind you have also been in line as long as you. I'm sorry it's been so long, but it's clearly very busy, and if you just pull forward so we can cash out the next car, I'd be more than happy to grab the onions."
"I'm not pulling forward until I get them."
"Then I'm not getting them." I shrug. "You're driving up our ticket time and being verbally abusive. I don't appreciate it. So either pull forward, or you and I can continue this lovely chat while your food gets cold." OL has this look on her face, confusion and anger mixed together. I'm honestly very amused. She can't ask for a manager because I'm also training to be a manager, so she's stuck. I've been here a long while and I've dealt with abusive customers since day one. I'm hollow now. Uncrushable. Mitt, noticing that she's yelling, comes to the window and asks what the problem is.
"This bitch won't get me my onions."
"Pull forward and she will. We have to assist other cars too, ma'am."
"This is ridiculous."
Pulls out phone, takes a picture of the window, which has our owner's number on it.
"I'm calling the owner."
"Okay. Pull forward and call him. I'll grab your onions, and if you want, I'll talk to him on the phone too. The owner loves me, so I'm not a bit worried about him not taking my side, especially in the case of verbal abuse." OL once again makes a confused, angry face, and finally, after our window time is at 15 minutes, pulls forward. I go to get a pint from the kitchen and fill it with onions. As I leave the building, I notice OL is not where I told her to be. Turns out she had peeled out of the parking lot in a fit of rage. She didn't even stop at the stop sign. There were tire marks leading out. Mitt told me she almost hit somebody in her blind rage. Not even 5 minutes later, we get a call from the owner on Mitt's cell phone. Mitt took the blame for my wrongdoing. I took the phone from her, explained what actually happened, and how Mitt did nothing but take her order and hand the food out the first time. Our owner explained how she told him she's never coming back, and how next time something like that happens we should have offered a free dessert with their meal because we ran out. I told him I understood, and that I would do better next time. Funny thing is, I always offer my customers a big smile and free desserts if I fuck up, or if I take too long. Sometimes I even give them their meal as my own for free. But I won't do it for assholes. Sorry, not sorry. Funny thing is, she came back a week later, and once she saw me in the drive-thru window, pulled out of the parking lot again without paying for her food or receiving it. I haven't seen her since. 2. I worked at a restaurant that had those little kiosks where you could put in the orders for appetizers, desserts, and even kids' orders. Most notably, each kiosk had a small library of games that you could play for $2. And whenever you go to first play them, the kiosk would warn you about the small price. Now that those details are out of the way, let's get on with the story. I was at the host stand making sure the map was up to date when a family started leaving in a rush. I start my polite goodbyes and wished them a good night. As they were leaving, a lady walked up to the host stand to me, and the conversation went like this. As far as I can remember at least. I know the key points. EP entitled Parent, CS Cool Server, CM Cool Manager, me, myself, and I. Hi ma'am, is everything okay? So I got my receipt after paying, and I noticed there is an extra $2 tacked onto my bill. I was still a bit fresh to reading the work receipts, and I knew I wouldn't be able to give any input on receipts and pricing. I'm not too familiar with the receipts yet, so let me grab a server. I turned to grab a server, and at perfect timing a CS is already walking towards me, and I ask him to help the lady in front of me as I was unable to. He agrees without a hitch and turns to the lady. What you need help with, ma'am? I got my receipt after paying, and there's an unexplained $2 on my bill. CS looks at the receipt and instantly sees what it is. Oh, that's the games on the tablet. Someone at your table played the games and the games cost $2. EP looks at CS confused and upset as if he just insulted her. My daughter was playing the games, but I didn't know that they cost money, so I just let her. I'm sorry about that, ma'am, but the tablet tells you it costs money to play. Well, I didn't know, and my daughter has no right to charge money on my card, so I want it taken off my bill. Me and the server knew what words were coming next, so I got ready to move as he shifted so I can exit the host stand. Can I speak to your manager? I walked to the back and grabbed CM as she is a no BS type of manager. She was a bit busy at the moment, so she said that she would be up front in a sec. I walked back up front, and the EP was cross-armed and cross. I stepped behind the host stand, and it was a few moments of waiting while EP made the occasional exclamation that the way we ran things was stupid, and that her situation was BS. CM walks up and starts talking to EP. How may I help you? I paid for my bill and noticed there was extra money on my bill because my daughter played the games. So you want me to take the games off your bill? Yes, because technically having the game so easily accessed by my kids should be illegal. My daughter should not be able to make transactions on my card. I'm sorry, ma'am, but once the bill is closed, it's final. My 17-year-old daughter should not be legally able to charge money on my card. And it's stupid for you guys to have it so easily accessible to kids under 18. By this point, CS was to the back of the house into the kitchen. People at the bar, including other servers, were watching this lady cracking on the waxed floor with her foot tapping. I could void the bill and ring it back up once it's voided without the games on the bill if you want. It will take a few days for it to go through. No, I want my $2 now! My 17-year-old daughter shouldn't be able to access the games, and that's on you. I'm sorry if this has upset you, but I'm upset that I have to spend $2 extra on my bill! The moment she yelled this, I walked to the kitchen, and all the servers back there looked at me as CS caught them up on everything. There was a moment of silence before we all started laughing our asses off at how ridiculous this lady is. There is no way she didn't hear us with how loud we were laughing like a pack of hyenas. A few moments pass, and CM walks into the kitchen and just stares at us in disbelief of the stupidity she had just witnessed. We laugh even harder, and once I got my laughing fits in control, EP is still there, upset as ever. I ask if she's been properly helped. And as I say that, CM walks up with 2 singles and just hands it to the lady. There you go, will that suffice? Yes. Alright, now you know for next time. Be sure to tell your daughter. Already preparing the mental leather belt. Oh, I will. I'll be sure to talk to her. Exit EP. After she left, I connected the dots and realized that her family was the one that left in a rush, as they probably knew what type of BS she would be up to. 3. Bit of background info. I am a 21 female and I work in a local pub. It's not a big establishment, which means I usually work the night shift alone. That means I serve the function as bartender and waitress, as well as being my own manager and security. Basically just checking IDs and kicking people out that are too drunk. I'm not the scariest looking or the strongest, but I usually manage. This absolute hell of a night happened last year on a particularly busy Friday. The bar had been full all evening, and being the only one at work, I had a lot to look after. I had been told that a big pub crawl party was to arrive around 10 PM, and they'd probably just go for 1 beer and then move on to the next bar down the street. Fine. We have a lot of those parties, so no biggie. So the party arrives, 24 people. And to this day, it's still the biggest party I've ever served. I know it's technically not a lot of people, but being the only one in a bar with 50+ people in it already, it was a lot to handle. So let's introduce Mr. A-Hole. He is clearly the one in charge of the pub crawl, and is the one who places their orders. Side note, they're all co-workers aged 40 and 50, and working in a bank. He is impatient, disrespectful, and downright rude as he orders. He expects me to basically whip out 24 different drink orders, shots and beers for everyone within seconds. And even though he can literally see that I'm doing over the bar and counter, he is the type of customer who's already huffing and puffing with how much money they're spending, and how they should basically get special treatment and free stuff for this. And for anyone who wonders, their order didn't exceed $300, which is not a lot of money for a group of 24 people. Anyway, I finish their order, and since the bar is already full and there's not really any tables available, they just hang around for a bit. Not 10 minutes later, I can already hear that there's something going on at the back tables of the bar. I hurry down to see if everything is okay, and surely enough, one of the pub crawl guests has vomited all over someone else's table. Usually when people vomit on tables and floors, they leave by themselves. But this dude is so hammered that he's just sitting on a bench. I tell him to get out while I go get the mop and bucket. He agrees and starts to gather his things, and I try to escort him to the door to make sure he leaves. We don't get more than a few feet away from the table before A-Hole steps in front of us, blocking the path. What do you think you're doing? Your buddy barfed, so he's leaving. No, he isn't. No offense, but that's not really your call to make. If you vomit, you're out. That's the rules. You really think you're in charge, huh? He leaves when I say he leaves. Now let him go and get back to serving us. Look, this isn't debatable. I don't have time for this. Please move, your friend needs to get out. I need to clean up his puke, and then I'll happily get back to the bar. At this, Mr. A-Hole literally gets all up in my face and starts lightly pushing me in the chest as he yells. I'm still holding on to his blackout smashed friend. There's still puke all over the place, and people around us are starting to stare. You don't tell me what to do, you bitch! You don't have any idea how much business I'm bringing to this place, and I could easily leave and take it all with me. What do you think your boss would think of you then, losing all this business by being rude? By all means, sir, please do leave, and take as many people as you'd like with you. I don't want you here with that attitude, and frankly, both you and Mr. Barf here need to leave this bar immediately. We leave when I say so, you clean when I say so, and you serve us when I say so, you bitch. It's vomit? And I need to clean it now? You do whatever I tell you. Sir, I will call the police. You are not welcome in this establishment anymore. And if you're not out of here in 10 seconds, no one from your company is ever welcome here again. He then pushes me to the side to get to the vomit table, and as he looks me straight in the eye, he pours the entire contents of his glass out on top of all the vomit, and he yells, "Well, if you love cleaning so much, clean this up as well, you fucking bitch." He then throws his glass so it breaks and storms out. I then escort Barf Buddy out, who frankly seemed embarrassed by the whole scene and happy to leave. Several other customers came and asked me if I was okay, and even though I was a bit shaken up, I wasn't hurt or anything. I then get to cleaning up the vomit, beer, and broken glass. The rest of the night went by peacefully, and all his co-workers were polite and embarrassed, and quickly finished and moved on to the next bar. I never saw Mr. A-hole again, fortunately. That was the worst customer I've ever encountered. 4. I have a couple of stories from my 6 months serving at a pretty famous restaurant in my college town that turned me off working in the food service industry 100%. The first story is about a customer that seared himself into my memory forever, and the other is about the terrible management we had at the time. So the first story took place about a month before I walked out the door for good, if memory serves me right. It was a pretty slow day, and I only have one family I'm waiting on before a party of one walks in. The lady in question. She gets seated at the very back of my section, and before I can finish telling her my name, she cuts me off and demands water. You know, usual restaurant customer business. And demands that she is ready to order. Fantastic. She orders what I will rename the Admiral's Dinner. Basically a $30 plate of all the seafood we offer in the restaurant, deep fried of course, with a side of fries. The turnaround between me putting the order in and getting the food was quick as, again, this was a relatively slow day. I audibly hear the food still crackling from being freshly fried, which is important because of what happens next. I set the food down before her, offering the pleasantries that a server would normally happen before a customer begins to gorge themselves. And I walk back over to check on my other table. "Hey, you!" I hear as I get maybe halfway across my section. I pause and turn around to see what's the matter. This lady raises her arm up, her index finger extended as if she's pointing towards the sun, her eyes locked on mine. She then slams the same index finger deep inside the still steaming cut of fried catfish, twirling it around. I just stare. Not sure of what to say to the sheer level of madness I was witnessing. "This food is ice cold, send it back and put it in the grease." I oblige in shocked silence, and have the cooks put the food back another round of being fried. It turns around in maybe a minute and a half, and I deliver the now piping hot food back to the table. She again probes the food with her finger, making me wonder what horrible tragedy must have destroyed the nerves in her pointer finger. "It's still frozen. Why are you trying to serve me cold food?" I offer a resigned smile. "I'll go send it back again." I bring the plate back to the window and shrug to the cook as he gives me a death glare for making him revisit the same plate a third time. I suppose you could say the third time was a charm, as I brought the now destroyed plate of food to the customer. It's still cold, but I guess it'll have to do." "Enjoy it, ma'am," I offer as I get out of Dodge as fast as possible to serve another table that has just walked in. The rest of the service to her was pretty unremarkable, and as you can imagine, the tip I got was nothing to really write home about. But I'll never forget the moment when her finger took a dive deep into the scalding cut of catfish. The other story took place maybe 2 days before I called it quits at this place, and swore myself off of food service. It was another relatively slow day, a couple of hours before dinner rush. The host had a couple of kids, a 13-year-old and an 8-year-old if I recall, at the front of my section. I wait a couple of minutes to approach them, expecting their parents to walk in at any moment. This didn't happen. I walked up to the kids and introduced myself, and they ordered a couple of waters. I ask if their parents are around, and the 13-year-old responds, "Oh, they'll be here soon." I puzzled about this response for a moment, but had to shrug it off. As I brought them their waters, the 13-year-old's phone started ringing. I stood there for a moment, as she talked to her parents on the phone, and when she hung up she turns to me. "I'm sorry," she says politely. "Our parents are at the other location, we need to go." As they had just ordered waters which are free, I didn't think anything of it other than to let my manager know why the table is clearing out so soon. What happens when I tell this manager what happened is the straw that broke the camel's back for me. I summarize the story as best as I can while the kids start to climb out of their table. The manager looked at me like I was some kind of axe murderer and screamed in my face,
"What did you do?"
and quite literally ran to the kids, corralling them back to the table. Shocked and confused, I slowly inched towards them, keeping just enough distance to watch the manager as she pointed at me and asking them loudly,
"Did he do anything to bother you?"
The children looked about as shocked and confused as I was at this moment, as the 13-year-old explained to the manager the exact same thing she told me, and the manager let them go. I couldn't even look that manager in the eye for the rest of the shift, and I think I might have worked one more shift before I just didn't go back. The funny thing about this is that for about a year and a half after all of this transpired, every time I drove past this place, their marquee constantly read, "Servers and cooks wanted." I can't speak for the cooks, as I didn't interact with them much, but most of my fellow servers were a pretty great group of people. The customers were a mixed bag of personality, of course, but the management was consistently awful the entire time I worked there. There was a ridiculous amount of turnaround within the 6 months I stayed. By the time I left, there was basically an entire new crew of servers. I can only assume that by the time they were able to change the marquee to tell the world about the food that they were offering instead of their job vacancies, someone within the higher echelons of ownership in the restaurant figured out that the problem was with the leadership, and it got a much-needed shake-up to make things right. But I wouldn't really know because I never stepped foot in the place again after walking out of my last shift. 5. I worked at a kosher sushi bar for 2 years, starting from 17. Man, do I have some weird stories. First off, I know what you're thinking. WTF is a kosher sushi bar? And I'll answer with, I know, right? My people are so weird sometimes. Basically, it was a place that targeted the rather large portion of religious Jews in my city. We served high-quality salmon and tuna, both cooked and uncooked, rolls with the usual combination of veggies, and we also had some fake shrimp, fake lobster, and fake crab stick that added to the variety of ingredients while still keeping the Jewish seal of approval. Coming from a non-practicing Jew and a sushi lover, I can tell you the food was amazing. The religious diet was like 75% fish anyways, so a kosher sushi bar was honestly a really good call for my city. There were only 2 other places that served kosher sushi in the city. The first was a semi-club place that catered to a younger crowd. They had a few kosher-approved rolls on their menu, and the other was a quick grab-a-combo hole in the wall with a questionable fresh sign on the front. This will be relevant later. My place was small, but definitely the best quality. So it's lunchtime one summer day, some several years ago now, and I'm bussing tables. Lunch rushes weren't crazy like the night shifts, but they certainly drew a large number of people in a small amount of time. We had the regular menu, but shoved that one in the back in favor of a 6-option combo menu. The menu's options were cheaper, varied, and most importantly, saved on time, allowing the chefs to keep up with demand while still maintaining the high-quality level of food. Many of our customers knew this. They don't rush us. They know what they're getting is the good stuff, and many of them are happy to wait. Halfway through the rush, the hostess goes to the chefs, whispers an "I'm sorry," and flees to the hostess desk. Smack dab in the middle of the rush, somebody has ordered 40 rolls off the dinner menu for pickup. This woman has ordered some of the most time-consuming ones too, the fried ones, the double-wrapped ones. A few orders of grilled salmon too. By the way, we have platters. Hostess basically begged her to get one just to save money, but this woman refused. We then find out that the customer is on a deadline and will be there to pick up in 20 minutes. Head chef just said, "Nope, we're waiting till the end of the rush, deal with it." The boss is coming in, it's a whole thing. So the whole restaurant's scrambling. I'm cleaning tables aggressively to give people the hint that we need them out now. The chefs basically have to do a whole reset for this order. Grab some more fresh fish and cook it all. So I'm outside, taking care of the outdoor seating area, dealing with the lunch rush when the customer walks in. Try and picture what a young, religious Jewish trophy wife would look like. Right off the bat, she asks me,
"You work here? Yeah. Where's my order?"
"Please take a seat inside, we haven't fully prepared it yet."
"What? I said 20 minutes.
"I'm so sorry, but we honestly couldn't complete your order in that time. Plus, we had quite a few customers." She was already fuming. I don't remember exactly what she said, but she started yelling about how we should be treating her better than everyone else. To her credit, her order was above $600. Like I said, this was some high-quality sushi. She was causing a huge commotion, and there I was holding a stack of dirty plates, getting a face full of anger spit. It wasn't a good time. I tried to calm her down and told her the chefs were close to done. They hadn't started because of the rush, but she demands to see my boss. I run to the back to get him, and JTW goes and starts yelling at the hostess. So I find the boss. He's just pulled in, and he goes up and asks what's going on. Now, my boss was a good dude, a very no-nonsense kind of guy. Oh, and also very religious. Big, bushy beard with the hat and twirls. If you did your job, acted professionally, and met his very realistic requirements, he would treat you very well. But if you didn't, he would throw you out the door himself. Many times I would see him sternly or angrily reminding staff about the importance of being nice and patient with customers. But today he was noticeably different. He had a very, I don't give a flying shit who I yell at today, but someone's going to get yelled at attitude. He walked up to me, the JTW yelling still audible from the kitchen. He calmly asked me what was going on, and I explained it to him. Without another word, he left the kitchen and confronted JTW. She was yelling at him, the hostess, and now the head chef had joined in from across the room. All my boss did was try and calm her down at first. She was a semi-regular, everyone kind of was, but every few weeks or so her and her husband would come. I'm sure my boss had said hello once or twice. I guess one moment he just snapped. Next thing I knew, my boss was raising his voice.
"You come into my place and disturb my customers. You think yelling will get you what you want? You think you deserve special treatment? My chefs work hard. My servers work hard. And I work hard to give you the food you want. And this is how you thank me?"
At this point, the two are in a yelling match. Most of the customers have cleared out. The chefs are almost done with her order. Finally, the yelling ends. There is an eerie calm as I hand the woman her humongous order of food. Once she gets it, she turns to my boss, now sitting at the hostess desk.
"You know you've been terribly rude to me. I'm your paying customer. How could you treat me this way? This will be the last time I give you my business."
Yeah, we will see about that.
"Excuse me?"
I'll see you next time.
As JTW left, she was red in the face. Like I said, there were only 2 other kosher sushi bars in the city at the time, and ours was the best by a long shot. My boss knew he had the closest thing to a monopoly, and he was damn smug about it. Sure enough, a week goes by and JTW walks in. She sits patiently by the hostess desk, as she waits for her much more reasonable pickup order, deliberately avoiding all eye contact. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, number 37. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Okay, as you may have noticed the other day, I've started re-uploading try again. I've started re-uploading the deleted neckbeard videos. That's episodes 9 through to 12. So I've put episode 9 up, put a little card on it, basically explaining the video is shorter because I had to move things because of unforeseen circumstances. I haven't said why it was removed, although I have explained in the comments why the videos. I don't want to be throwing shade at anyone. It is what it is. It's done. We're moving on. I'm getting the videos back up. I'm making sure I put re-edited in the titles so people don't think they're brand new videos, but I want them to be there for those who want to re-listen or for new users who are discovering the Neckbeard series. So, there's that. And surprisingly, they're still getting better views in some of my videos even though they're re-uploads. Albeit corrected versions of the originals, which are no longer available on the channel, just so we're clear. So that's one up so far. I'll get the other 3 up as quickly as I can, no set schedule, just a matter of when I find a little time to do it. The actual editing process isn't too difficult. It's essentially just a matter of snipping out that area and moving on. Putting in a transition and adding the little card at the start of the video explaining this video has been edited. Just a matter of finding time to do it in amongst everything else. Okay, and with that I'm going to head off for now, so until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourselves.